As the cause of the nationwide blackouts remained a mystery, Spain and Portugal's leaders call for investigations.
3 people were confirmed dead by police in a shooting attack in the eastern city of Uppsala near the capital Stockholm. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres warns the two-state solution between Israel and Palestine is at a point of no return as fighting continues in Gaza. Day 1 of the annual European People's Party Congress taking place in the Spanish city of Valencia this year wraps up.
As Spain and Portugal slowly returned to normal following nationwide blackouts, the cause of the disruption remained a mystery on Tuesday. Portugal's Prime Minister Luís Montenegro has called for an EU inquiry, while his Spanish counterpart Pedro Sánchez said reforms will be made to ensure it does not happen again.
É, portanto, também importante que, face a uma expectativa menos positiva, que ainda ontem foi adiantada relativamente à nossa dependência, nomeadamente com Espanha, sabermos que o problema que foi causado não tem a ver com a falta de capacidade de produção e distribuição em Portugal. O que tem a ver é com exatamente essa ligação.
Spain's private operator Red Eléctrica has ruled out a cyber attack, but Sanchez said his government will also still conduct an independent analysis.
Y se están examinando ya los registros informáticos de Red Eléctrica y también de los operadores privados para no descartar ninguna hipótesis. Digo esto porque Red Eléctrica ha hecho saber que descarta en la red de transportes cualquier ciberataque. Valoramos positivamente este aspecto, pero en todo caso la responsabilidad del Gobierno de España es hacer un análisis independiente.
By Tuesday morning, Red Eléctrica said 99% of energy demand in Spain was restored, and Portuguese grid operator REN said all its power substations were back online.
Swedish police say 3 people were killed in a shooting attack in the eastern city of Uppsala near the capital Stockholm. Local media say a manhunt to locate the perpetrator, who reportedly fled the scene on an electric scooter, is underway. The attack happened in a residential neighborhood.
Jag tycker det är obehagligt, för jag menar, alltså, speciellt när man vet att vi åkte förbi den här, jag hämtade upp min sambo precis minuter där innan och vi åkte förbi här, vi bor bredvid och jag tänker alltså, att det rör sig barn, det rör sig ungdomar i de här områdena, så jag tycker det är väldigt obehagligt.
A large area was cordoned off by police, who launched a probe into the attack, which is being investigated as a murder. The motive behind the attack was not immediately clear, and police did not provide details about the suspect. Crime has been on the rise in Sweden, where gang violence has spiked in recent years, leading to frequent gun, knife, and bombing attacks. The United Nations Security Council held a session on Tuesday to discuss the conflicts in the Middle East. Topping the agenda was the war on Gaza and the unfolding humanitarian catastrophe after Israel moved to resume fighting 6 weeks ago. The session was attended by UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres, who warned that the promise of a two-state solution is on the brink of disappearing.
The two-state solution is near a point of no return. The international community has a responsibility to prevent perpetual occupation and violence.
The UN boss also warned against the altering of demographic and geographic realities that could hamper any future settlement. Guterres explicitly announced the Security Council's rejection of any territorial changes to Gaza, which he says is integral to a future Palestinian state.
The Security Council has rejected any attempt at demographic or territorial change in the Gaza Strip, including any actions that reduce its territory. Gaza is and must remain an integral part of a future Palestinian state.
Palestine's UN ambassador Riyad Mansour was also in attendance. In his address, he highlighted the rapidly deteriorating humanitarian situation, urging members to take immediate action to rectify it.
An immediate ceasefire must be resumed, and all its objectives must be achieved. President Trump, in his latest conversation with the Israeli Prime Minister, stressed what he called, in his own words, the need to be good to Gaza. given how people there are suffering independence.
He also suggested that U.S. President Donald Trump is on board with giving the people of Gaza some respite. Mansour says the United States is pushing to secure the entry of food and medicine to relieve Palestinians who've been deprived of basic necessities for weeks. He also expressed hope that they, along with mediators Egypt and Qatar, will be successful in securing the return of a ceasefire. Day 1 of the European People's Party annual Congress taking place in the Spanish city of Valencia this year wrapped up. The party's president, Manfred Weber, running as the sole candidate, was re-elected as EPP president with 502 votes in favor and 61 against. In his address, he flagged his role in enlarging the EPP group in the European Parliament and pledged continued growth. He also highlighted the party's recent success, praising Ursula von der Leyen for her re-election as European Commission President and Roberta Metsola as President of the European Parliament. Von der Leyen was also in attendance, where she spoke on a number of issues, chief among them global trade. She said that in every crisis there is opportunity, referring to U.S. President Donald Trump's trade wars and tariffs. The Commission chief said that deals are in negotiation with many countries, among them India, Indonesia, the UAE, Thailand, Malaysia, stressing that Brussels remains an influential player on the global trade scene. Roberta Metsola also took stage in Valencia, where she spoke on the ongoing Russian invasion of Ukraine. The parliament president reminded her party delegates of the need to continue supporting Kyiv and stressed that no deal concerning Ukraine can happen without their agreement.
European People's Party sees populism and extremism as their main competitors. In an exclusive interview with Euronews, party president Manfred Weber warned of an authoritarian wave arriving in Europe, explained that he will never establish a structured cooperation with the extremists. The EPP has started a 2-day Congress in Valencia, Spain, where delegates will approve the new direction.
Well, I, as party leader, defined a clear red line to the extremists. We will never work together with those who are not respecting my 3 pros, so pro-Ukraine, pro-rule of law, and pro-Europe. There are fundamental things for us. So you can name them. It's Le Pen in France, it's AfD in Germany. There will be never a structured cooperation with them for us as EPP. So we are ready to include the serious conservative parties in Europe. For example, Giorgia Meloni showed in Italy, together with Antonio Tajani, that they are credible, that they are center-based.
When it comes to the relationship with the United States, he still thinks that an agreement on tariffs is possible with a balanced approach. But he is more critical when it comes to Vice President J.D. Vance's approach to freedom of speech.
We don't follow the Vance, or Vice President Vance, consideration that everything is allowed. No, in Europe, not everything is allowed. You cannot lie, you cannot do hate speeches there, you cannot be anti-Semitic in today's world in Europe. Not everything is allowed. And this implementation of our rules is making us self-confident that we believe in the European way of life, not following the American, the Chinese, or the Russian approach.
At the Valencia Congress, Weber is also set for re-election as head of the party. The German Christian Democrat is the only candidate for the post. See the full interview on Friday in the Europe Conversation.
Controversial Cardinal Angela Betu will not participate in the upcoming papal conclave following Pope Francis' death. Convicted of embezzlement in 2023, Betu said he's obeying the late Pope's wishes while maintaining his innocence. This reverses his earlier demand to join the conclave, which starts on May 7th to elect the next Pope. Betu lost his rights and privileges as a cardinal after his conviction, which was centered around a disastrous London property deal, but was never technically removed from the College of Cardinals.
At least 9 people were left dead in a Damascus suburb after clashes broke out between pro-government fighters and local Druze gunmen, according to the UK-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights. The fighting was sparked by an audio clip circulated on social media of a man attacking Islam's prophet Muhammad. The audio was attributed to a Druze cleric who later denied being involved. The clip angered many Sunni Muslims and led to the fighting in the predominantly Druze suburb of Jaramana. Syria's Interior Ministry said it was investigating the incident and urged people to not act in a way that undermines security. It was the latest episode of sectarian violence in Syria, which has seen several clashes involving minority groups since the fall of President Bashar al-Assad. The new leadership has attempted to unite fragmented armed groups under one authority, but Druze fighters have resisted this, saying Damascus failed to guarantee their protection from hostile militants.
Amazon has launched its first batch of internet broadcasting satellites, kicking off its long-delayed deployment of an internet from space network. 27 satellites are now in orbit at an altitude of nearly 630 kilometers above the Earth's surface. Monday's launch from the Atlas V rocket, which took off from Florida, follows that of 2 experimental satellites launched 2 years ago as part of Project Kuiper, a $10 billion effort unveiled in 2019. Competing with rival Elon Musk's Starlink, Jeff Bezos' team claims that the satellites they're launching are now much more advanced than the first 2. The company aims to put more than 3,200 of these satellites into orbit. Musk's SpaceX has already launched more than 8,000 Starlinks since 2019. Meanwhile, a growing number of astronomers are warning that the large number of satellites is hampering their work and could pose an accident risk.
Hydraulics continue to look good.